Hello, my narcissistic abuse family. I'm talking about a great topic today. I'm so mad at myself for leaving it out of my last video, but it deserves its own video because it's a big irony. So, kind of piggybacking off my last video, which was about 5 ironies of narcissists, because we all know they're just a big, confusing conundrum, and their specialty is mixed signals, right? So, my this is a major conflict. What's the other word? It's like a oxymoron kind of thing, like idiosyncrasy. So, narcissists claim that, or they don't claim, they don't say it outwardly, like overtly, but they insinuate that you need them. But the reality, the irony of it all is that they need you so much more than they'll ever make you believe that you need them. Like, they might bamboozle you and confuse you very much to the point where they convince you that you can't survive without them. But the reality of the whole thing is that they can't survive without you. They need you. So I can come at this from both angles. First, I'm going to talk about I guess I'll talk about the narc mother. Get that out of the way. So, well, I guess I'll speak in general because narcissists need their supply. It's actually very comparable to a drug addiction. It's or a substance abuse issue. It's like they are just consumed with obtaining supply from anyone at any time. And when they latch on to a reliable source like ourselves, for example, like if it's your parent, forget it, you're done. They get you when you're a child, when you're young, you're vulnerable, you're innocent and unsuspecting, and they just suck the life out of you. And they'll just keep doing it, and keep doing it. Like I said, I'm in my Instagram post, like I'm almost 40 years old, and I just came to God, came to Jesus with this whole concept. It's like so illuminating and so disturbing, but when you finally see it for what it is, everything makes sense. And if you decide to go no contact, like myself, you remove yourself from this toxic dynamic, this evil equation, and you just sit back and watch them go ballistic because they're trying to get their supply back. So, my narcissistic mother, all growing up, wanted me and my sibling, my older brother, to believe that we needed her. And it's so ironic in so many ways, on so many levels, because I am very independent by nature. I was just born that way, thankfully. I think probably most of us were, as black sheep. They tried to strategically cut us down, to degrade us, to believe that we're helpless. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. The reality, we know that narcissists project, and my narcissistic mother is so helpless. She won't do anything for herself. She loves to rely on her codependent partner, my father. She loves to act like, she bolsters him by insinuating that he's the big man and that he takes care of everything. It's like she throws him a bone so that she can run rampant and do whatever she wants and be terrible. And he'll support her blindly ad nauseum. So, but all growing up, she tried to make, I'll speak personally from my experience, she always tried to make me believe that I was somehow helpless and that I needed to rely on her. One of the biggest constraints that she would try to put on me, like when I got my license and she really started to lose her control over me, I guess. When I got my license, it was a ferocious snowstorm, legit like blizzard conditions, and she loved to try to lock the house down when there's inclement weather or something of that nature. She would always be like, "Oh, you're not going anywhere. You can't go anywhere. It's terrible out. There's blizzard conditions, or it's an emergency status," something like that. And I would always be like, "Yeah, no, thanks. I'm good. I'm going. I'm getting the flip out of this awful home." So that was one specific time that really resonated, that really comes to mind, is that she wanted so badly for me to stay in her pathological domain, pathological narcissistic space. She wanted to keep me there and act like, I couldn't possibly go anywhere or do anything for myself because it was a blizzard. And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm leaving. Bye." So there was that. There was several circumstances. I'm sure you can think of some yourselves based on your own experiences. But like I said, the joke of it all is that the narcissist just is consumed by obtaining supply. And for almost 40 years now, I was her steady stream of supply. And she depended on me for her narcissistic fix. And the reality is, now that I've initiated no contact, she is like spiraling out of control. If you've watched my previous videos, she came at me in a ridiculous, like outlandish narcissistic rage. She's putting her codependent partner, my father, up to trying to loop me back in as well. The whole thing is just a nightmare. Like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, you guys. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made, is to go no contact. And it's like, the farther away you get from that toxic, awful, abusive dynamic, the more you see it for what it is, and just how poorly you were treated and put down. And it's insane. It's like, oh my gosh, how did I tolerate this for as long as I did? I read a great quote on the gram the other day. It was something like, if you put a frog in boiling water, it will jump out and save itself. If you put a frog in warm water and slowly turn up the heat, it'll stay there and just die till it boils, because it's a subtle, exactly what narcissists do to us. They just cut us down, they devalue us, they dismiss us until we're left with this terrible self, loathing. Like, that's what, actually, I shouldn't even say that. Narcissists loathe themselves. They have a lot of self-hatred and horrible, like, self-perceptions. And they try to do that to us. Again, projection, a big theme with them. But I thought that was such a great quote about the frog. If you slowly turn up the heat, frog will just stay there until it dies. It's boiled and done. And that's exactly what narcissists do to us. So now I'm going to hit this from the angle of being in a romantic relationship. And if you've been there, you absolutely relate to this. So when I was with the creep narc ex, he took me, like a really strong, independent 20-year-old girl, and I had so much going for me. I had a great job. I was finishing my master's. not to pat myself on the back or anything, but I had a lot going for me. But he made me believe that I was like garbage and that I was lucky to have him. Like, he would always speak so grandiose of himself. Like, the things he used to say and do, like, I think about, like, they at that time, they struck me as like, wow, you just said that. But like, now that I'm out of it, I'm like, holy bananas. Like, he was legit disordered, like narcissistic, to say the least. So, but he, like, when you're in a romantic relationship with a narcissist, they bamboozle you to the worst degree, and they try to make you truly believe that you need them, that you can't survive without them. My narcissistic ex was like 9 years older than me. He was almost 10 years older than me. And I guess it was like a daddy issue kind of thing. And like, he would always take care of me and pay for things and take me on trips and all that kind of stuff. So, he took me, a successful young person, educated, and made me believe, by devaluing me, dismissing me, he steadily just took any self-worth I had, any self confidence, and he snuffed it out. So he definitely had me believing like that I needed him in some way. And that's why narcissists also, like, they kind of get off on like breaking up with you or discarding you and tossing you to the side, because it's so sadistic, but they love to see you like squirm, like to beg for them back, whatever, to chase them, because in their twisted, sadistic, deluded minds, that makes them more self-important. It gives them a sense of self-importance, I should say. Like, they look at you like, oh, she can't live without me, so I must be important. I must be a big deal. I must be a good catch. So they toy with you. They mess with your emotions so that they can get this twisted high off of hurting you and leaving you. It's gross. So the biggest irony of narcissistic abuse is that they convince you, they'll do everything they can to convince you that you can't live without them. But the reality is, it's the other way around. Narcissists need their supply. They essentially can't live without it. So that's why they're so quick to move on as well, like in terms of a relationship, or in the parental situation. Like, I know, like, sure as shit that the narcissistic mother is targeting her enabling codependent partner, my father. Like, so good riddance to that. But it's a reason behind why, when you're in a romantic relationship, the narc will move right on to the next in line, because they can't live without their supply. And oftentimes, I thought this was very interesting, is I read somewhere that narcissists will equate their consuming need for supply with love. They'll make that correlation. They'll be like, oh, well, I need him or her or whatever. And so it must be love, because they don't have any capacity for genuine, authentic love and making genuine connections with people. It's all surface level, superficial stuff. Everything is in an effort to preserve themselves and their feeble agendas. So I just wanted to get this out, because I felt terrible that I did not include this huge glaring irony in my last video. But now you can appreciate how integral it is. It's such a critical part of narcissistic abuse. They can't live without you, man. They need you so desperately, but they'll do everything they can to twist it around, of course, and make you believe that you're at the disadvantage, because they can never be at the disadvantage. They can never be weak or vulnerable or susceptible. Hence, their absurd, grandiose, bolstered ego facade. It's a joke. So, I hope this helps you guys. Hope it was some useful information for you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me on this crazy roller coaster of a ride. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I would appreciate that greatly. I love you all. We're getting through this. We're bumped and we're bruised, but above all else, we are blessed because we have this insight and this genuine appreciation and authenticity that we would not have had otherwise. Most importantly, we're not the narcs. They're stuck being themselves. All right. Love you guys. See you soon.